We'll use masking tape to create a shape of a Christmas tree here, but first let's draw a triangle. It will help us position the masking tape perfectly straight in the next step. You want to use a pencil and a ruler and mark your lines very lightly. In terms of its size and positioning, it is the center of your composition and you want to have enough space around it. Now we are going to place our masking tape directly around the triangle. Make sure that you press it tightly, and we'll also be working on the area around the tree, so cut the tape edges so that they don't reach past the overall outline of the tree. So you should have something like that. And our next step is to create a geometric pattern inside the Christmas tree using masking tape only. Our tree is going to consist of triangles of different sizes. So you want to place your tape strategically so that you only have triangles as a result of it. Let me show you what I mean by that. So we have one triangle here, and our next tape placement is going to be probably here, like this, and then this one, so you see what I mean. I'm trying to put my masking tape in such a way that in the result I'm getting the triangles here. So I'm gonna work a little bit more in this area, like this. And you're free to place those triangles the way you want. You don't have to repeat the exact same pattern as I'm making. I think I'm gonna stop now. I have a good variation of smaller and bigger triangles, so I'm pretty happy with the way it looks right now. We're gonna use different shades of green to paint different triangles here. I'm actually gonna use emerald green, but I will be mixing different amounts of water and paint so that I get either more saturated emerald green or more diluted. So you don't have to use too much water because the area that you are covering is pretty small. So even just a tiny bit of water will go a long way on such a small area. But the more water you use, the less saturated your pigment will be. We can start working on the area around the Christmas tree. And the idea that I have for that is to create a suggestion of the stars in the sky. First, we want to cover the area around, just on the sides. You don't need to touch the bottom, with clean water. So when the area around the Christmas tree is damp, we can start applying the blue paint, which will suggest the sky. I want to create really soft edges, so I'm gonna wash out some of the feathering that is occurring here. So you should end up with something that looks similar to that. So you want to let it dry just a little bit, and we are going to start creating the stars. Make sure that your paper isn't too wet by the time when you start this exercise, because if it's too wet, the stars are going to spread too much. And you want to use a medium-sized brush. Your brush has to be slightly damp, but not loaded with water. Okay, so now it's time to let it dry completely before you can remove the masking tape. Pull it really slowly. If you still have some pencil marks, make sure to erase them, but only if your paint is completely dry. Otherwise, you will smudge it. I also want to add a little suggestion of a tree trunk at the very bottom. So now it's time to paint that star at the top of the tree. We want to wet the paper a little bit and just place yellow right in the middle. You don't have to have too much water so that it doesn't spread too much. You want to control the size of your star. And I'm also going to place a tiny bit of orange in the very center. You can either leave it as is, I think it looks good already, but if you want to add a little bit more details, I'm going to show you one option. So I will draw a few Christmas ornaments. I will use yellow and orange so that the colors are aligned with the whole color composition. And then I'll cut those ornaments. And there are two options. You can either cut and glue them separately to your painting, or you can use this special adhesive putty and attach it to your painting.